There is a material currently sitting in high-end kitchen showrooms across the country that has the power to heat your entire home all winter for the cost of a single dinner out. It is a stone that can store heat for 75 times less than the cost of a high-tech battery wall. And the reason you have never been told about it is that in 1965 the heating industry worked very hard to make sure it was removed from every residential building code in America. Right now, if you want to store energy to keep your house warm, the industry wants to sell you a lithium-ion battery system. Those units cost about $300 per kilowatt-hour of storage capacity. But soapstone, the exact same material currently being used in 100-megawatt industrial installations in Finland, stores that same energy. We are talking about a total disruption of the modern energy market sitting right under our feet. But if you thought that was bad, it's only going to get worse from now on, because the systems we've been forced to rely on were never designed to be efficient. They were designed to be replaceable. Before this video is over, I am going to give you a specific thickness measurement, a number in inches, that determines if a stone floor stays warm for 2 hours or 24. This is a figure I found in a 1922 masonry manual that has been scrubbed from every modern HVAC guide and flooring brochure. That one number is the difference between a floor that is just a luxury finish and a floor that effectively replaces your furnace. But first, we have to look at the theft that happened 60 years ago. In the early 20th century, soapstone radiant floors were the gold standard for thermal comfort in the coldest parts of the Appalachian Mountains and the Swedish Highlands. They didn't just look good, they acted as a thermal sponge. Because soapstone is rich in a mineral called steatite, it has a density and thermal conductivity that is 10 times higher than standard floor tile or concrete. It drinks heat and then vibrates it back into the room as long-wave infrared energy. This isn't just about warmth, it's about the physics of how a house holds on to life. But in 1965, as the United States expanded its gas and electric infrastructure, the manufacturers of forced air furnaces saw a problem. A stone floor that lasts 100 years and requires no moving parts is a terrible business model for a company that sells mechanical boxes and monthly service contracts. They petitioned the Federal Housing Administration to change the standards for new home construction. They argued that active heating, meaning systems with fans, motors, and flames, should be the only recognized primary heat source for a federally insured mortgage. They didn't ban the stone. They did something much more effective. They made it so a house with a soapstone floor couldn't qualify for a standard mortgage without a variance. In a single decade, the most efficient heating system in human history was rebranded as decorative and replaced with a metal box designed to fail in 15 years. We traded thermal independence for a subscription to the gas company, and most of us never even noticed the trade was made. But the physics of the Earth didn't change just because the paperwork did. To understand why this matters right now, we have to look at the way your current heater works. It blows hot air to the ceiling, the thermostat trips, the air cools, and the furnace kicks back on. It is a constant, expensive cycle of energy loss. Air is an insulator, it is terrible at holding energy. The moment the fan stops, the heat is gone. Stone is different. A soapstone floor behaves like a massive heat battery under your feet. Once that stone is charged with heat, it stays hot. But there is a secret to making it work that the tile industry has been hiding for decades. If you go to a tile shop today, they will tell you that a half-inch stone tile is plenty for a heated floor. They are lying. A half-inch of stone has almost zero storage capacity. It is just a conductor for whatever is underneath it. If the power goes out, that half-inch floor is cold in 20 minutes. But the 1922 manual specifies a secret number for true thermal autonomy, 2.5 inches. At a thickness of 2.5 inches, soapstone reaches a state of thermal equilibrium. It can absorb heat for 4 hours and discharge that heat for the next 16. That means you can charge your floor using off-peak electricity or a small wood stove, and your house stays 70 degrees all day while the furnace stays off. It creates a thermal flywheel effect that levels out the temperature of your entire life. Now, you might be thinking that soapstone is a luxury material, and you're right if you buy it the way the industry wants you to. If you go to a countertop showroom, they will charge you $100 per square foot for A-grade aesthetic slabs. But for a thermal floor, you don't need aesthetic perfection. You need molecular density. You want industrial seconds or remnants. These are the pieces with visual inclusions, odd mineral veins, or irregular edges that the countertop shops usually throw away or sell as scrap. You can often source enough for a primary living area for about $200 by visiting local fabricators and asking for their sink cutouts or broken slabs. When you lay those remnants at the 2.5-inch thickness, you aren't just building a floor, you are building a 50 kilowatt-hour battery. And unlike a lithium battery, this one won't degrade after 1,000 cycles. It will still be holding a charge in the year 2126. But there is a technical catch that almost everyone gets wrong. If you lay this stone directly onto a standard plywood subfloor or a concrete slab, all that heat will simply disappear into the ground. To make a $200 stone floor work, you must install a thermal break. This is a layer of high-density rigid foam or a perlite concrete mix placed directly under the soapstone. This acts as a one-way valve for energy. Without it, the stone will try to heat the earth beneath your house, and your battery will always be empty. With it, the energy has nowhere to go but up into your living space. Beyond the cost and the physics, there is a health factor the furnace industry never mentions in their commercials. Forced air systems are essentially giant dust circulation machines. They blast dander, pollen, and mold spores through your house every time the fan kicks on. They dry out your sinuses and create a temperature stratification where your head is hot and your feet are freezing. Soapstone radiant heat is different. Because it uses long-wave infrared energy, it doesn't move the air at all. It warms the objects in the room, the couch, the walls, and you directly. It is the same feeling as standing in a patch of sunlight on a cold winter day. In 19th century Scandinavia, these floors were actually used to treat respiratory issues because they don't disturb the air particles. Today we've replaced that natural medicine with expensive HEPA filters that you have to buy every 3 months from the same companies that sold you the furnace. And if you think the building codes are the only thing holding you back, it gets even more complicated when you look at how modern homes are actually designed. We have built houses that are airtight but mass-light. We use thin drywall, thin flooring, and light gauge wood. These houses have no thermal memory. The moment you open the front door in January, all the energy you paid for escapes in a single gust of wind. A soapstone floor gives the house a memory. It gives the house the ability to resist the outside environment rather than just reacting to it. The hurdle today isn't the science, it's the bureaucracy. If you try to build a new home with only a soapstone floor as your primary heat source, your local building inspector will likely tell you it's not to code. What they really mean is that it isn't on the list of products that generate recurring revenue for the energy sector. Much like raw wool insulation, soapstone has been omitted from the standard tables because it doesn't require a factory to produce a proprietary replacement every decade. But for a homeowner looking to retrofit or upgrade, those primary heating codes often don't apply to supplemental flooring or decorative masonry. You can install a 2.5-inch soapstone battery right over your existing subfloor in a single room, and that room will become the thermal heart of your house. During a power outage or a grid failure, that one room stays 70 degrees while the rest of the house drops into the 30s. It is a survival strategy disguised as a home improvement project. Think about the math one more time. The Department of Energy admits that the average American family spends over $1,500 a year just on space heating. Over 20 years, that is $30,000 sent to a utility company for air that disappears the moment it's blown. For $200 and some sweat equity, you can install a system that cuts that bill by 40 to 60% and lasts longer than the mortgage itself. The Appalachian farmhouses that still have these original floors don't care about the price of natural gas. They aren't worried about the stability of the power grid or the next high-efficiency furnace model. They are warm because they chose a solution that doesn't require a subscription to survive. They chose a stone that was forged under pressure millions of years ago to do exactly one thing: hold on to the sun's energy. We have been conditioned to believe that efficiency means buying a more complex machine with more circuit boards and more sensors. But true efficiency is simpler than that. It is the ability to hold on to the energy you've already paid for. It is the refusal to let your comfort be dictated by a lobbying group in 1965. The choice we have today is between a machine that is designed to fail and a stone that was designed by the earth to last forever. One requires a technician and a service plan. The other just requires you to remember what we were once allowed to know. It is time we stop heating the air and start heating the mass. We have the technology, we have the history, and for $200 we have the materials. The only thing missing is the willingness to build outside the box. Tell me in the comments, what is the current R value of your floor? And what is your average winter heating bill? Every time we talk about these suppressed standards, we are taking one step back toward a house that works for us, instead of us working for the house. Be specific about your state and your climate zone, because every data point we collect is one more piece of evidence that the modern way was never the only way. It's time to take the thermal power back into our own hands, or more accurately, under our own feet.